So I was just having a conversation with some of my friends about The Wizard of Oz and how they don't like it. And it got me to ask the question, does The Wizard of Oz still hold up for modern film audiences? I think the answer is yes. Now, the film's story may be extremely simple, but it's a fairy tale. It kind of has to be a simple story, you know? It's a very simple story about a little girl trying to go somewhere bigger that she really wants to go to, but she just doesn't know yet, only to realize that what she actually wanted was right in front of her the whole time. You know, we see tons of stories like this nowadays, like Nightmare Before Christmas or Wreck-It Ralph. So it is a simple story, but it's perfectly acceptable because it is a kid's fantasy fairy tale movie. Not to mention the movie is literally a little girl's dream. The effects and the set are completely revolutionary for the time, especially. Like, the person I was arguing this with said that if the movie was released just a couple years later, it would look like shit. When we all know for a fact that if the film was released in 1941, it would still look amazing. She also said the costumes were terrible. They were impressive at the time, but, you know, let's be honest. They're not the greatest. They are mainly just Halloween stage costumes, but they're charming for what they are. Plus, again, a literal dream. Not to mention the matte paintings look fucking beautiful. It doesn't look realistic because if it looks realistic, then that defeats the whole point. But it just looks beautiful and breathtaking to see, especially on a big screen. She also said the song sucked. Look, Over the Rainbow's a certified classic, alright? And y'all shouldn't even pretend you don't fuck with the rest of the songs. You know, we're up to see the wizard. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead. And then she brought up the horrible things that happened behind the scenes. Look, every movie had shit go wrong behind the scenes. Wizard of Oz just had a lot of it. None of it was anybody's fault. A film of this scale had never been achieved before. So stuff like Audrey Hamilton getting third-degree burns, Buddy Epstein getting lead poisoning through his face makeup, and people getting poisoned through the fake snow all sucks, but you have to keep in mind that a film like this was never achieved in Hollywood at that point. We had to figure out how this type of movie can get made, and for the people who made The Wizard of Oz, they figured out the hard way. Now, everything that happened to Judy Garland, yeah, that fucking sucks. And is yet another horrible example on how Hollywood treats child actors. But that's a video for another day. The point is, what I'm trying to say is that The Wizard of Oz is a timeless masterpiece. It pioneered so many techniques that modern cinema uses to this day. It was one of the first major studio films that heavily utilized Technicolor. It was the film that put Judy Garland on the map and made her a star. And it has one of the biggest legacies of any movie to date. Probably the biggest legacy of any film of all time, to the point where you can arguably state that it is objectively the greatest film ever made. And it's one that doesn't sound pretentiously film bro-y like The Godfather 1 and 2 or anything from Martin Scorsese. It's a timeless family classic that has managed to stick with tons of generations for over 80 years now. And to this day, it is the one film that Hollywood agrees should not get a remake. Making another adaptation of the book or trying to do some sort of homage or follow-up is fine, but everyone agrees, do not remake The Wizard of Oz. And if that doesn't sound like the greatest movie of all time, I don't know what does.